Hello everyone, welcome back to Showdown 64. This game was played in Norway Chess 2026, featuring Gukesh with the white pieces against Magnus Carlsen playing black. Gukesh entered the game with a rating of 2732, while Carlsen was rated 2840. It was a classical encounter where every decision carried long-term consequences. Gukesh starts with d4, and Magnus replies with d5. White follows with c4, entering Queen's Gambit territory, while black answers with e6. Knight to c3 and knight to f6 complete the early development. White exchanges in the center with c takes d5, black recaptures with e takes d5, and then bishop to g5 pins the knight. Magnus responds actively with bishop to b4, increasing pressure and preparing flexible development. After knight to f3, Carlsen chooses the interesting move queen to d6, supporting the center. Gukesh reroutes the knight to d2, and black strengthens the position with c6. White develops the queen to c2, while h6 asks the bishop to make a decision. Instead of retreating the bishop, Gukesh jumps forward with knight to b5, attacking the queen. Carlsen calmly plays queen to e7, avoiding any problems. Now white exchanges on f6 with bishop takes f6, and black recaptures using g takes f6. This creates doubled pawns, but it also opens the g-file for black's rook. The engine considers this a playable imbalance, because black gains active piece play in return. The knight returns to c3, black develops with knight to d7. White supports the center with e3, and Carlsen repositions the knight to b6. Bishop to d3 prepares castling ideas and central control. Black immediately activates the rook with rook to g8, showing attacking intentions on the king's side. Gukesh responds with g3, but Carlsen places the bishop on h3, creating pressure against white's king. White expands with a3, and black exchanges using bishop takes c3. After b takes c3, white accepts doubled pawns but keeps the bishop pair. Carlsen quietly moves the knight to c8, planning a better route. Gukesh pushes c4, trying to gain space, but black captures with d takes c4. White recaptures using queen takes c4, and knight to d6 attacks the queen while improving black's position. The queen retreats to b4, and Carlsen advances a5, fixing the queen's side. White slides the queen to c3, while black lifts the rook to g5, preparing activity along the 5th rank. Bishop to e2 completes development, and rook to c8 places another black piece on an active file. White chooses f3, supporting the center, but Carlsen immediately challenges with c5, opening the position. Gukesh centralizes the king with king to f2, and black places the rook on d5, attacking the center. White retreats the queen to b2, but Carlsen breaks through with c takes d4. White answers with e takes d4, keeping material balanced. Magnus calmly improves his king with king to f8, while Gukesh activates a rook using rook to e1. Black develops the bishop to e6. White brings the second rook to d1, and then Carlsen starts expanding with f5. The move knight to f1 aims to reinforce white's position, but black continues strongly with f4. This pawn advance gains space and limits white's pieces. Engine analysis likes this plan because it creates long-term pressure and opens attacking possibilities. White responds with bishop to d3, and Carlsen centralizes the queen with queen to f6. Gukesh improves the bishop again with bishop to e4, but black's rook to b5 is a very active move, attacking from the side and preparing further pressure. White places the queen on d2, and Magnus finds bishop to b3, creating excellent coordination between bishop, rook, and queen. Gukesh brings the rook to c1, but Carlsen exchanges with rook takes c1. White recaptures with queen takes c1. Then comes a critical tactical moment. Queen takes d4 check wins an important pawn and forces the white king into a passive position. King to g2 follows, and black calmly retreats the bishop to e6, keeping control. White grabs a pawn with queen takes f4, but Carlsen immediately launches rook to b2 check. This rook invasion is extremely strong because it attacks the king and supports the queen. The king moves to h1, and black continues with queen to f2, creating dangerous threats. White finds queen takes d6 check, forcing king to g7, and then checks again with queen to e5. Magnus calmly blocks with f6, an excellent defensive move that removes any danger. Gukesh captures on b2 with the queen, but black instantly replies with queen takes b2, exchanging queens and entering a favorable endgame. White activates the rook with rook to b1, while black captures another pawn with queen takes a3, increasing the material advantage. After rook takes b7 check, Carlsen simply steps to king to f8. Gukesh pushes g4, searching for counterplay, but Magnus advances a4, creating a dangerous passed pawn on the queen side. White's position is now extremely difficult, with black controlling the board and holding the extra material. Recognizing that there is no practical way to save the game, Gukesh resigns. If you enjoyed this complete analysis of Gukesh versus Magnus Carlsen, don't forget to like the video, share it with your fellow chess fans, and subscribe to Showdown 64 for more Grandmaster game breakdowns and tournament coverage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.